Hello, my name is Stephen White. I want to talk to serious spiritual seekers today about some of the problems you may be experiencing in your practice. I'm addressing myself to people who've been engaged in a true spiritual process. What I mean is that I'm not addressing people who are just going through the motions of doing practices and who aren't really working with their emotional, mental, and physical obstacles. If you're the type of practitioner I'm addressing, your spiritual practice is stirring up your emotional and mental issues, and you've experienced a lot of pain as a result. You're one of those who knows there's no real spiritual progress without facing and accepting your pain. I'm going to talk about a spiritual situation in this video with which I'm qualified to help, and with which it is difficult to find anyone qualified to help. I'm speaking now to people who are on the verge of enlightenment, or daikensho, as it's called in Zen Buddhism. Again, this is a condition that takes deep spiritual insight and intuition to diagnose. Here are some of the characteristics of this condition. Having these characteristics may not be an infallible sign that the person is approaching great enlightenment, but at least some of them will be present. All of the person's former interests and motivations have dissolved or are in the process of dissolving. They no longer take interest in things that used to engage them. They don't know what happened to these interests. This is due to the fact that their former identity that held all their motivations is dissolving. They will not realize until the process is finished that all their motivations up until this point have been self-centered. There can be the global experience that nothing makes any sense anymore. This is due to the fact that they are awakening from conceptual delusions. Almost everything ordinary people believe, what they were taught, who they think they are, what they think the world is delusion. Since they are awakening from all this, their former way of perceiving and making sense of things is dissolving. They can become very disoriented if they grasp to orient themselves conceptually. If they let that go, then the process will not be too disturbing. It is only the attempt to orient themselves in the old way that makes the process problematic, but almost everybody does so to some extent. Their spiritual practice has become extremely painful to them, even more so than it has been in the past. This is due to the fact that at this point in the spiritual journey, all the techniques and practices fail. They may have become discouraged after many years of practice by the realization that they are never going to, quote, get there, unquote, directly through spiritual discipline. They may feel that they have been wasting their time and energy for many years on a dead end. This is one of the most infallible signs that someone is nearing awakening, if it is true disillusionment and not just a consequence of laziness. The person realizes definitively that there's nothing they can do to attain enlightenment. It is this giving up of effort and gaining mind that always precedes a true awakening. Although the process leading up to this point may be gradual, there's not actually any gradual attainment by building up merits little by little, as it's taught in some paths. In order for true awakening to happen, the ego has to definitively be defeated and give up all attempts to avoid pain and suffering. Relatively many, though still numerically few, people are coming into such an experience at this time. Some of them may never have done any spiritual practice and may not even be interested in it. Others may have been practicing without a close relationship to a teacher. Still others may have been misunderstood and misdirected by unqualified teachers. If you think you might be in this situation, then get in touch with me. We'll see whether there's anything I can do to help. Sometimes just being in the presence of someone who has passed through this experience already can push it through. And I also have other methods that can be tried.